Let's just look at all these.
Hey, I'm John Bro, and this is the commentary for the Riddle School 4 ending, because I wanted to balloon the file size and make it look like the same size as Riddle School 3 or something similar. I wanted to make a commentary just because it seemed like it would be a funny idea to have the game, because most of the game is a movie. And I figured I would have to make a commentary better than the one for Pain on the Brain 3, because that one sucked. I already had it in my mind that Phil should die in Riddle School 4, because I got so sick of requests for a 4th Riddle School game. And I started one before called Riddle University, but it wasn't going to be very good. I only had planned the first room, which is the one that's seen in Riddle School 4. And I think it was just ripping off of the idea of another game where you had to make a fishing pole out of basic objects like a pencil, a string. I don't remember exactly. So my friend Yoshi Egg came over. He was the other voice in the Pain on the Brain 3 commentary, and I said, I'm going to make Riddle School 4 tonight. He's like, all right. So I started with that room, and I started animating Phil falling to his death in a lava pit. There were several ways he could have died, but we figured that was the funniest and the easiest to make. And one of my computers is a flash computer, and one of them is an internet computer, so I have to use the flash drive to go between the two. So I went to Yoshi Egg, who was on the internet computer playing RuneScape, and I said, hey, can I use the computer for a second? I need to find some sad music for when Phil died. It was funny. He said I could never imitate exactly how I sounded whenever I said that, but I tried, so. And one night, this game was born, mostly this movie, and we laughed our heads off watching the ending. Well, that's really about it. I need to think of more to say. The real reason I made this game was because I wanted to see the reaction on Newgrounds. When I was starting to make the first game out of the series, I wasn't picturing at all that I would ever make something like this. I was just trying to make a ripoff of Pico's School by Tom Fulp. And now it's a 4-parter where he dies. This is the best game ever. This is my favorite of the whole series, and it always will be. I'm gonna try to scream like Phil again. No, that's not quite it. Oh well.
I beat the game in 0 seconds because I didn't even play it. Alright, the making of Riddle University. Plan to kill Phil. Alright. Time machine to go home to a live stream by the college on top of the rope was being shredded signature. Yeah, in the hall. Riddle University plans weddings from a school college built there. Okay, now. 4 is less thick in one location. Looks like this always works being send this to the doors where I can killed Phil. Now what? I remember seeing this in Riddle School, in one of the Riddle School, later Riddle School. I'm gonna tell the characters. Alright, now let's do the sad voice. Need to turn off the music. Right. I didn't really like the school, but I thought he was wanted to stay in school. Anyway, make the best grades he could while not doing very much. Grew up and took many effortless occupations, such as music conductor, substitute teacher, and an abstract artist. One day he fell face first into a bad pain. You can guess what happened. Smiley had a legitimately good life. She grew up with perfect 100s in her classes and had a long-lasting career in biomedical sciences. She got married to a perfect man who just so happened to have a smiley face for her head just like her. Spent the rest of their days together, living happily in a treehouse in a beautiful forest. Zach was so determined not to be cold anymore that he bought a plane ticket to the tropics midway into his first year of college. right above the volcanic island. The plane ran into a bad bit of turbulence. Zach ended up crashing the window, fell into a erupting volcano, and froze to death. Richie dropped out of high school, wishing he hadn't paid so much attention to collecting stuff. He was mugged in a dark alley and woke up trapped in a smelly dumpster. Nobody ever found him. 4's sold t-shirts online for a living. His talent was eventually replaced by a big graphic design company. He made the mistake of asking for a slightly large sum of money, and the company ripped him off and sued him. 4's was put in jail for the next 5 years, and not once for the rest of his life did he have enough money to sue them back. 4's dad. He insisted on being the janitor at Riddle Elementary School because he loved to clean so much until his son was unfairly sued by a big t-shirt designing company. He realized we need a better paying job. Being a garbage boy in France. He was having so much fun that he forgot his son existed. The janitor was locked in his own closet in Riddle Middle School one day, not long before the school closed down and replaced with a new one. He ate his mop, drank his dirty mop water, nibbled on his hat as he was stuck in the darkness of the closet. Last sound he ever heard was the sound of wrecking balls smashing the walls. The janitor in Riddle School 3, he claimed he could hear a pipe problem from a mile away. That was in fact true. His uncanny ability to hear toilet clogs earned him a television show reputation as the perfect-eared plumber. The show was canceled after 2 years because he realized nobody had ears. The janitor leapt off a bridge. Mr. Cobb was never a very smart person. After the first real school game, he learned about how small the percentage of drinkable water on the planet there was, and read then to never drink anything again. The end. Miss Covey was never a very smart person. She told Mr. Cobb that nearly all of the world's water was drinkable, but then she realized she only drank coffee. I wasn't really sure how much straight-up water was drinkable, so she went to the beach because there's a lot of water in the ocean. And drank as much as she possibly could. The end. Grade 1. Drank 99 cups of coffee. On the 100th cup, she died of caffeine overdose. The teacher once screamed at a school student so loudly that the walls of the room she was in collapsed around her. Nobody knew what to put on her tombstone because no one knew her name. Sir Elba was getting ready to sit down one night at a school about knights and horses. I sold before the show to hold a sword with the props. It wasn't a real sword, but ironically, he still died from it because the sword was made of allergy medicine. Sir Ovo was horribly allergic to that. Greg Sleep was asleep for 18 of the first 20 years of his life. One day he woke up and realized how much he aged, and after panicking, decided to move on. He got a driver's license, was on his way to the grocery store, had a fatal wreck. Sleep at the wheel. She once got married and had a son named Greg. Eventually she died sleepwalking off a cliff. His son was a math teacher for his entire life. He was gardening on the roof of the building. He was suddenly mugged by a bear. Waited him 30 minutes later. As your son, he simply couldn't find his glasses, so he was eating glasses and got a fatal car wreck because he couldn't see. Mr. Reed was reading a comic book in Royal High School, where he was reading the words, 6 stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Got a nasty paper cut and lost every inch of blood in his body. Miss Flash ignited a flying chair and discovered there's no air in space. Monkey hater Miss Count was bored at her home and decided to look for the games on the internet. A game called Riddle 3, which she had proceeded to beat twice in a row. Not long after, she was put in inside and whispering loudly about monkey doll curse. Mrs. Oddbird was very tired of people when looking at her and thinking she was the guy, so she went berserk and set fire to a shoe store. She stole a small boat and sailed away from civilization, never to be seen again. Mrs. Moses was at a bank, and a bank robbery suddenly took place. Robert told her to get down on the ground. She said it was awfully dirty and it wouldn't be good for her new dress. She saw it multiple times, and her dress was ruined. Mr. Question, former principal of Riddle Elementary School, was put in prison for life because he faced beat a student's head in. Mr. Counselor of Riddle Middle School was robbed of all his possessions unexpectedly. Several weeks after they met, Mr. knows he didn't have a house. He died of starvation right after because he also apparently didn't know he had no food. Mr. Potato discovered the magic of video games right before Riddle School 3. Nothing but play video games long after Riddle School 3. He died happily right at a game called Riddle School 3. 6 feet under. He's still holding his favorite game controller. Joe didn't make it to college. His grades were terrible. He thought to himself, you know what? I wonder what gasoline tastes like. His will stated that he wanted to be cremated after his death. His friends didn't know it was something so full of gasoline didn't mix too well with fire. Supposedly a foreign exchange student just popped into Riddle University a single time. That it was as if he completely disappeared from existence. Chubb stopped eating right after Riddle School 4 for the rest of simply because he got so big his cheeks covered up too much was enough for him to eat anything else. He lived an entire century after he stopped eating because of the metabolism. It is rumored Earth's most devastating earthquakes were caused by Chubb struggling to move. Mrs. Munch loved to serve food, but she felt like she served her son Chubb too much and she didn't know what to do. She discussed her internal struggle with her husband, Mr. Munch. He said that they should just give all of Chubb's food to him. She soon realized she had a terrible accident and divorce and feeding her son more than ever. Mr. Munch, devastated by his wife's decision of divorce, started devising a plan to take life of every one of her friends and acquaintances. He realized he didn't know as much of his former wife as he thought he did. Listener, he could remember her talking to a kid named Phil. Actually, he killed Phil and later died by overeating. Phil only went to college because he figured it would be better than elementary, middle, and high school. Went to newly built Riddle University because it was local. It was cheap. He didn't have any particular plans for the rest of his life, so it didn't matter what classes he took. At first, he thought this Riddle school was just like the other three he escaped from. Just when considering trying to make his fourth escape, he found out it was completely different.